Hey, Cardinals fans, welcome back to the Redbird Rundown presented by I-70 Sports, your home for all things St. Louis Cardinals. I am Jonathan, here with both Matt and Andy today.
Yeah.
We would love if you'd share our Spotify and Apple links with your friends. It helps us grow. You can find them on Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitter. Today, we are going to recap the past series. We're going to deep dive a few pitchers on the Major League roster. I won't spoil the names yet. And then we are going to share what we'll be watching heading into the penultimate week of games. Been wanting to say that word for a little while. So last 2 weeks, right? But before we get into the series recaps of the games last week, we need to check our record and get a vibe check. So here's the record, guys. Donut in 5. That's what I'm tracking. 0-5. So, Andy, we'll start with you. What's the vibe this week after going 0-5?
I re-listened to our earlier pod whenever we were doing the over-unders for the NL, and all of us confidently took the over at 75.5 for the Cardinals. Listener, to jog your memory in case you're not up to date on what our over-under was total. And all of us were like, Matt said he was going to take $100 bet, and we were all like, yeah, it's a surefire thing. And then they go 0-5, and it's like, well,
we jinxed that.
We got 12 games left. We only had to win 4. We can do it.
Yeah, but that's where my vibe check is, well, are we going to get there? I don't know.
Okay, that's a good one. Matt, where are you at?
I am thankful. So I've been seeing this little
Thanksgiving isn't too much. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing these posts on social media like, guys, we're only 3.5 out of the wild card game, blah blah. I'm just like, no. People just don't understand. This team is not. It's not a playoff team. It hasn't been a playoff team. It's never been a playoff team. And so at least we just kind of, it's like, did I really want to hang around? Because now the last 2 weeks don't matter, and we can just do the silly season stuff because it's over. Maybe we can play spoiler. I like that Andy brought that up. We could do that a little bit. We have the Reds and the Giants, but I guess I'm just glad to know. Finally, we know we're not making it. We're not.
We played spoiler in the fact that we gave the Brewers a postseason clinch. We're doing a really good job.
Yeah, nice job, guys. Spoil that.
I don't think the Brewers need anything from us. I think they're fine.
No. All right, my vibe check this week is just simply losing stinks. Losing stinks, and I'll tell you why I feel that way personally, as I was there to watch us lose one of these games. But I knew that the Mariners series was going to be a bit of a buzzsaw. Like these last series, there's nothing easy about this September schedule.
Nope. Yeah.
Nothing at all. And
the last 2 series are against playoff teams. The Mariners are like do or die for their season right now, and they've really turned it on. And the Brew Crew have been wrecking people all season. So.
Yeah, and you'll see that going forward, that there's going to be more playoff teams and playoff hopeful teams. So it's just a bummer to see us lose.
It kind of shows to Matt's point. This was now we're facing teams who are ramping up for October, and we're just falling short. And it's kind of to Matt's point of, no, that's not what this team ever was. Look at it. Look at what has happened now when we're facing opposition that is ramping up to the playoff caliber level.
I did say at least we know, but it's not like I've enjoyed the last week.
No.
I have been, thankfully, again, I have been pretty busy. I have not caught very many of the games, which maybe that was good. Yeah. But, it doesn't mean that the Cardinals don't go with me, because every time my phone buzzes and I look down at the ESPN notification, I'm like, again. Yeah, so it's a bummer. So I'm kind of like out of my misery, but yeah, it's not fun. It's not good.
Oh, I agree. All right, let's get into some of that said misery here. The Mariners series, beautiful Northwest in Seattle. Our first game, spoiler, we lose. Remember, we didn't win any of these, okay? Michaelis was not horrific, truly. 2 runs over 5 innings. I'll take that from him all day long. Barely hit a home run. This was the Brian Wu game where that Mariners buzzsaw of a pitching staff is just really good. We knew that coming into this, so not much offense here. We lose 4-2. Game 2, Liberatore really struggled to pitch deep into this game. He gave up 5 runs and a 5-3 loss. At least we fought back a little bit. Again, this is another good starter. I think this was George Kirby. He has not been as good this year, but still, I would take him on our team in a heartbeat. And in the last game of the series, it was nice to see McGreevy bounce back a little bit. He got kind of roughed up in his last outing, so he gave up 1 run over 6 innings to them, which was really nice to see. But we lose one of these back-breaking, when you lose in extra innings now in Major League Baseball, it sucks. But when you lose in 13 innings now, that's
Yeah.
even worse because it's harder to go deeper into the game. So we lost 4-2 and swept by the Mariners. Before I get to the Brewers series, any thoughts on the Mariners series? Do you guys catch any of those or have any thoughts?
I saw that Fetty came in and pitched for the Brewers, and
Oh, we're gonna
yesterday's
get to
game.
that.
Oh, go ahead, Jonathan. Take it away then.
We're gonna get to
Well,
the
we
Brewers.
scored 2-3-2. So
Yeah,
Herrera is back in a big way, but
yeah.
Walker stunk. You know, like I don't know. The attack dogs are whimpering out the season, and I don't know if it's something's different. To your point, the Mariners have a great pitching staff, but it stinks to lose.
Yeah.
It stinks to lose worse when you don't score, and we have had the worst offense in baseball in the second half, and it has been a rough watch out there.
Here's the only thing I'll say about the Mariners series. I'm kind of happy they played us at this time because I like the Mariners. Andy, I think you had a vested
did.
interest in maybe them going to the World Series here.
Yeah, so thank you, Cardinals,
Yeah,
for
so thanks
helping them
Cardinals
along.
for helping the Mariners. I would like to see them win their division and upset the Astros. Not that it really matters that much, but it's like hey, it could have happened to a worse player or a worse
Can we get
team.
the Cardinals to play the Orioles the rest of the season and maybe resurrect their playoff chances?
Yeah,
That was
that's
my World Series pick, so that's great.
That's funny. All right, Brewers series here. So game one is the game that I went to in Milwaukee. I looked at my phone prior to going and I saw that the potential starter was Palante, and I just thought this is about right, isn't it? The game I'd go to is Palante. He was honestly not bad the first 3 innings of the game. He got a lot of ground ball outs. And I was like, okay, this is like the recipe for him to be okay. Comes out, I think, in the 4th inning and gives up 3 walks. And then he walks 4. And I'm sitting there with my wife and I'm like, them walks is killing us. This is literally, that's it. That's it. Like outs. I know the game got lopsided towards the end and an 8-2 loss there, but he really wasn't bad until that 1 inning and they cashed in on all those walks. And it's like, that is the difference between a good team and us right now, is that you cannot give this team a free chance to score. And you gave it to him 4 times. It's just,
So if we were to go to the dictionary and look up a Palante inning, what do
oh,
you guys think are the components of a Palante inning? Because to me, it's like over 30 pitches, 25 pounds of sweat, 3 walks, 2 weak contact hits, 3 runs given up. Like, is there more components to a Palante inning? Am I missing anything?
sometimes he gives up a screamer. Sometimes people
Yeah.
smoke it off him, but you're right. You nailed it. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. All right, I'll give you my thoughts here in a second. Game two, I thought this was on Fox, okay, and I'm in my hotel and I'm like, oh, there's Fox Baseball, and I wonder who it is. It didn't say who it was, I'm like on the guide. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's us! Wow, I guess I'll watch this. This is neat. You don't normally see like a national game on TV anymore, right? And we're up 6-1. I'm like, this feels good. Like we're probably going to come back and win this. Well, it turns out we blow it, 9-8 in 10 innings. This is a game where Svanson pitched, JoJo pitched, Riley pitched. This was our guys here, and we just blew it to them. And this is the game where they ultimately clinched a playoff spot, which felt even worse that we just like collapsed like this to give it to them. So another extra innings loss. Go ahead.
With Fetty pitching.
This is the Fetty game. Yep.
4 outs.
And I can report when we watched Andy. We said last week we were joking that the Brewers would fix Fetty.
Yeah.
He was not throwing left-handed. We thought he might like switch arms.
Yeah, and that
But
was
he
probably
didn't.
it's like that meme on Band of Brothers where he does that, like, oh, you're gonna throw it with your good hand? Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he was a bullpen guy. I can't imagine he's going to make their postseason roster, but we'll see. And then game 3 today, I think the last I checked, we were up 3-2 later. Let's see if we can avoid the double sweep here, going 0-6. But quickly, when I went to this game, game 1 where Palante'd, it was really interesting because they from the outside looking in, their stadium is a behemoth of metal. Right? It looks like I don't know, like an airplane hangar. It's just like this.
Yeah, well, jog my
huge
memory
thing.
of I've been to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Is this and Milwaukee is an odd city.
Yeah. I would
Where is it in location to like the downtown area? Is it out a ways?
very slightly just west of it, I think, of downtown.
Okay.
So again, it was I didn't know what to expect when I walked in. We ate some food beforehand and everybody was so dang nice in that town though.
Mm.
Like, are you going to the game? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, you're probably going to lose. Oh, I don't know. You might not, like everybody was like a grandparent. It felt like, so
Yeah.
I thought people were going to rib me a little bit here, but they did not. They were super nice. When we walked in, they were doing the back half of the Cardinals batting practice. I have never seen that before,
Mm.
ever.
Mm.
I know we talked last week, Matt. I've never seen the Cardinals on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, that was kind of neat. Like I caught like the last, 5 minutes of it. I was like, wow, I've never seen that. When we were pulling into the parking area,
Was Walker practicing hitting ground balls?
He's
Did
practicing
he have like a phone go
striking
back?
out, low and away. No,
Okay.
he was not. When I was pulling in there, they have these parking areas where you can tailgate, which I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I would 100% do that if I lived and I cared for that team. Like if I lived close, that would be
Sure.
awesome. Like you bring your own food, you could eat for way cheaper. I think that's pretty fun. But when I'm pulling up, this parking attendant guy, you know how that interaction is sort of weird just in general.
Mhm.
Like you don't really know like, do I need to show you a code? What needs to happen? So I roll the window down, and this guy looks at me and he just goes, "Hey, do you smoke?" And I was like, "No, man, I don't." And he's like, "I ain't mad, man. Just go to the left and park." And I rolled up the window and I was like, "Was this guy asking me for a cigarette?" I don't really know what was happening in this entire experience.
That's an odd, yeah.
But I feel bad I didn't have this like cigarette for him. Like it was very weird. I don't know.
Sorry. So then, like you said, no, and he said,
He
what?
said no, 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 but just go ahead and go to the left and park. Like it was just like this weird interaction. Like I don't know. So if you're there in Milwaukee and there's a guy that's helping park, have a cigarette for him as you go through. That's like.
Did you like the inside of the stadium? I found the lighting to be very odd in there.
Well,
because it's like one of those indoor-outdoor kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, the roof was open.
Okay.
Whenever I went, which was really neat. I liked that. I didn't think that as much. It was a night game. Was yours a night game as well?
It was, but the roof was closed.
Okay, so the roof was open, which I thought was really nice. That's why I thought when I looked at this, I'm like, oh, I bet Matt saw this when it was closed. Because if it was closed, I don't like closed, stadiums.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's real echoey and
yeah.
So this one I thought it was extremely nice from a game experience. The roof was open. It was like 70 degrees, and they have maybe the largest video board I've ever seen. It rivals maybe the Mets is the biggest one I've seen, and it was very, very like high definition. It looked extremely nice. So I don't think it's very pretty on the outside. I didn't think it was very pretty on the inside, but as for a game experience, it was really nice from that, right? It was cool outside. It was the thing was open, and the hot dogs were good. Andy, you were asking me about that at the beginning. They were really good. And then one last story. When we were leaving, I was in the bathroom as I'm walking out. This dude comes in and he is absolutely hammered. He's probably like my age or a little younger. And he comes up to me as I'm walking out of the bathroom and he's like trying to
ask you for a cigarette?
No, would have been great. Would have been a nice dovetail into the story
yeah.
here, right? He comes up and he like daps me up and he's like, "Hey, cousin, where you been, man? I ain't seen you in a while." I was like, "Buddy, I've been out watching the game, He just was just absolutely hammered. And I'm like, I don't really want to like shake your hand in a bathroom.
Yeah, dapping up a man in a public restroom in a stadium it's not on my list of things to do.
See, that's a good thing you said that because you were not intoxicated, so that's like a normal thing to think.
That's true.
So anyway, he was an interesting guy. So overall, pretty nice experience. We got smoked. That was weird because when we had issues, like Palante was giving up all these runs, people were just like laughing at him, and I'm like, oh man, this is like my team you're laughing at like right in my face. That was really hard to be a part of. It really was. I was like, dang, like I just felt so sad for us. Like we just suck right now. Like this is awful. So,
Brewers fans laughing at Cardinals is not a bad like microcosm of where we're at as a franchise, and it's really sad. It gets old after a while. We are like the dog that's down, and people are just kind of kicking us because we've been successful for a long time.
Yeah, because normally when you go to a game and like the home team, whatever, you don't have a vested interest. You're just there for like excitement. Oh,
sure.
So there's a play at the plate. Well, that happened here, and it's like Crooks couldn't catch it, and everybody's like, "What is their catcher doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, Jimmy, buddy."
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Tough.
All right, so not too bad for that stadium. So we'll move on to our questions this week, our themes this week. We wanted to deep dive these two guys for a while. I didn't give the names at the top, but we're going to talk about Matt Svanson and Kyle Leahy a little bit. This is really under the we wanted to see who in the future could possibly slot into this rotation, right? Do we have names
Mhm.
internally? We have this just chasm of available openings, in my opinion, for the rotation going forward. That does not necessarily mean these guys will end up there, but is there a chance that they could, or what is their role going forward? This was kind of just an open-ended assignment to see what do we think about them and where might they go in the future. So, Matt, I know you took us or are going to take us down a very statistical path. Andy has
Mhm.
some other interesting stats on these guys. So, Matt, let's start with you. Let's get into whoever you want to get into first. If you want to give us like a high level overview of Svanson and Leahy, and we can go from there. But let's go through these guys and see what we end up taking away from this discussion.
Sure. So Swanson he's 26 years old, and we've mentioned this on this podcast, but we got him from the Blue Jays in the Jordan Hicks trade. Thank you very much, Jordan.
Thank you.
So just season stats, he's gone 52 innings, 56 Ks, so that's more than 1 K per inning, 1.9 ERA. And here's what jumped out to me. I did the old, I went and looked at StatCast, I went and looked at Fangraphs, and I went and looked at Baseball Reference. Matt Swanson is 84th percentile in K rate, and he is 91st percentile in hard hit rate. So he strikes out a ton of guys, and guys
Yeah.
do not hit the ball hard off of him. So he's got a sinker, sweeper, cutter, and four seam. And the sinker and sweeper have had extremely good run value this year, and his cutter against lefties. So that kind of
Hmm.
reverse split. What pitch does well is his cutter. So let me go ahead and give you this, and then I'll step back out of the way and just see what you guys think. So his location plus is at a 99, which is
We'll take
like
it.
so his location's not phenomenal, but it's pretty solid. His stuff plus. Now the leaderboards I were looking at were just looking at starters, but this guy's stuff plus would be near the top in terms of starters is at 109. And the crazy thing is his sweeper is got a 125 stuff plus. For some kind of context for us, Sonny Gray's is a 123.
Yeah.
So he's got a sweeper on the level of Sonny Gray. And so it just made me wonder, like he's a starter in the minors. He's had this in his track record. He's a starter in college. Could we like arm this guy with one more pitch, a changeup, and he's got four pitches? And could he potentially be in the rotation because he's showing some like elite skills here? And the question then becomes
Yeah.
like, you can do that for one inning. Can you do that for A, can you do that for multiple innings? And then B, what happens when you see a guy a second time or a third time in the order? Do you have something besides just the sweeper to get him out? Does he have enough? So he's
Mm.
got a bullpen arsenal with just really the three pitches. I wondered if we could get him a fourth because really his four seam fastball is not very good in terms of um, just like being a valuable pitch.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was there in the past. I found him to be interesting. What did you guys make of any and all those stats?
Well, he says himself that his go-to pitch is his sinker.
Yeah.
And he, quote, mainly for me, I worked on tuning up my slider and my other off-speed pitches. So there's to your point, Matt. That's exactly what he saw as well. Because, and I quote again, my pitch is a sinker, and while I could throw it more in the lower levels, top prospects and other experienced players can recognize that movement after seeing it a few times. So I really wanted to get my off speed
Mm.
to help generate strikeouts and get hitters thinking about my pitches other than my sinker. So
Do you
that's
think Andre Palante is listening to this
I
podcast right now?
I was just gonna say I have heard Palante say something like that before. Like I'm
Oh,
trying to use my knuckle curve more so they're not. Do you remember him? Like
yeah,
they're not guessing on my fastball. That's
yeah,
wonderful to hear from that.
yeah.
right. So I think that it's good. It's clearly that the work on the sweeper, he has something good there. So he is aware that he probably needs something to, switch it up on a hitter so that they're not just looking because
Yeah.
these pitches, I love it when you have a breakdown from anybody, but John Boy in particular, because he likes to overlay pitches like where the arm is. Uh, and it's ridiculous that the arm is in the same spot and like half a second later, the balls are in two totally different locations. And so
Yeah.
I would imagine that is specifically what he's trying to work on, is trying to literally fool the hitters into thinking, here's my sinker. Oh, just kidding. It's
Hmm.
breaking, 14
The
feet
opposite
out of the
direction.
zone. Right.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows that he needs to be working on the off speed. So yes, maybe Matt, you just need to slide that in there. Like, hey man, work on a changeup, and you might be
Yeah.
have something there. Especially
Did
because a changeup's movement can mirror
yeah.
a sinker very well, and it's a totally different speed. So yeah,
Feels like another pitch you could throw to lefties too. I feel like you see that a lot. The changeup goes to the
Breaks away.
opposite-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Did you say, Matt, that in his minor league career he had started?
Yes. This is earlier, and then he
Okay.
made the transition at some point to become a reliever. But he was drafted as a
Yeah.
starter, started in the minors, so it's in there.
So this is what's interesting, and that's the piece I wanted to pick on a little bit, is that is a Toronto Blue Jays organizational decision, is
Yeah.
what that is, ultimately. It is not that Svanson, I mean, I'm assuming this, but he probably would want to be a starter. I don't know many pitchers that want to be relievers.
Sure.
There's a whole lot of more just like contractual volatility. You want to be a starter, right? It's really where the money is. That's where the long-term longevity of being in the league is. So if he's been a starter, do you think that for Svanson, Ali has seen, or some of the other coaching folks have seen that he can stretch this out because we have seen him in multi-inning appearances. Matt, do you think there's anything behind that, or is that just if he's out there, you might as well let him eat, and so he has another couple days off? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like you're talking about in terms of how they use him. Are they
Utilization,
doing
yeah,
that on purpose because they've seen that in the past? I don't know. I don't have any evidence one way or the other. But the fact that he has done it and the fact that he has done these 2 inning or sometimes even 3 inning outings, I mean, a starter is going 5, maybe 6 at the most. So
yeah,
to me, this is not like a specialist that you bring in for 1 inning. He's had success against guys on both sides of the plate because sometimes you'll have that, right? Sometimes you have a
yeah,
righty in the bullpen and he's crazy good against righties, but lefties smoke him. At least as far as this year is concerned, that's not the case for Swanson. So I don't know. I just
yeah,
my hold up with talking about both of these guys like this is not something you see a whole lot. You don't see it very much happen where like a bullpen piece is really effective and then the franchise takes him and stretches him into a starter. You see it more the opposite way, that the starter's not super effective and then you kind of cram him into the bullpen role and he can throw faster and some of his
yeah,
pitches pop more. But to me, Swanson has like elite tools. And so this just becomes a super interesting philosophical question of, can you take this guy that has elite tools and can't, what if you stretched him? Would those tools remain as elite, or are they going to take a step down because, he's got to do it over more pitches? I don't know the answer to that, but I
mm-hmm,
think he's a fascinating case study for his underlying metrics are crazy good and he
yeah,
obviously has elite talent. Can we stretch it?
So it seems like his early A ball, his low A, when he was first brought up, he is brought up as a starter
Hmm.
for them. He starts and makes 28 outings in total. He started about 10 of those. And during those 10 starts, he posted a 4.15 ERA and a whip that was like 1.3. And then they moved him into the bullpen, and he posted a 2.1 ERA with a whip just barely over 1. So that's a walk and hit per
yeah.
innings pitched, listener. So maybe the Blue Jays saw something, and it was the transition from low A to high A, because you're right, all through college and high school, he was a starting pitcher. So perhaps it was during that time that a pitching coach or the staff there was like, hey, let's try him in the bullpen because I don't know, is a 4.3 ERA
Yeah.
desirable in high A ball? You know what I mean? Like if he's going to be a dominating or a good pitcher in the MLB, you would expect that he would be eating high A batters up. You know what I mean? Like, does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you won't want a 4.3 ERA guy coming up to pitch to MLB hitters because they're going to go higher than that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really gives me pause here on this is I would love to know, are they running him out there, the Cardinals, for multiple innings because of rest purposes or because they believe he can do something else? Because if it's the latter, then this is very interesting because the precedent is not very, there is no precedent really of stretching an awesome reliever because let's be honest, that is what he is. He's an awesome reliever. He may be at times he's been better than JoJo or Riley O'Brien at times, more consistent maybe.
Mhm.
Um, to stretch him into a starter because if you look at the opposite, like the adverse person is Gordon Graceffo. He could not keep it as a starter. They switch him and he becomes a fairly decent reliever. His velocity ticks up a few times. So that's what you typically see, Matt, to your point. So I'm very interested to see what they do with Sponson. Let me just ask this for you guys. I know I am thinking of both of these individuals as will they be in the rotation next year? Like if you are hard pressed, if you're Heim, would you do that to Svanson? Matt, I'll start with you. Would you based on what you've seen this year, his jump to the majors, his success, what you've just laid out in your argument, would you make him or try to give him some run in the offseason to stretch it out?
Well, I would 1,000%. And this is, I don't know that they'll do this. I don't know if this will work, but this is where I'm hoping we're moving as a franchise because you're hearing this messaging out of the team that's like we want to get back to setting the standard for baseball. And this, at least for me as a fan, this is how I feel. There are 4 or 5 organizations that you go to
Mm-hmm.
and they fix you. They find a pitch that's really good and they have you throw that pitch more, right? There's little things that they do. And so if this is going to be us, if we could take a cheap guy in the bullpen who has elite level talent and we could find a way to stretch that into a cheap starter, and maybe it's not elite level starter anymore, maybe it's just above average, but you still would be getting much more production and much more value out of a guy if he's giving you more innings. I just hope that we're building that type of franchise that between Bloom and Surfolio and Matt Pierpont, the pitching coordinator, and Dusty Blake, that if these tools are here, I think it's worth at least looking at. Now, I realize that you're subtracting strength from the bullpen, but it appears to me that we can just create great bullpen guys out of nothing.
Yeah.
So again, if he's finding this level of success, and Andy was talking about high A ball, that's probably him at 22 or 23 years old. He's 26. Maybe he's grown, maybe he's matured. We see this with hitters all the time that they kind of clicks for them and they become a different version of themselves. So maybe his command is better. I would like to see that, but this is just me as a fan, not understanding the background of some of this stuff. But yeah, I would love to see it.
Well, and he and Leahy both, they're basically the same age. And I have to remind myself sometimes that like, oh, these are the time that they were there. I almost said that caveat right there with the high A stuff. Like his last year in college, like that's COVID. So like we have all of that issue happening,
Yeah.
like stuff shutting down. He talks about that, the struggles he had. One of his teammates, where he went to college, got picked up by the Giants. He was
Mm-hmm.
so Leahy, or I'm sorry, Swanson was the number 2 pitcher for his university, and the Giants player was number 1, and so they both had this tumultuous entrance. Like when I
Mm.
was reading that, I was like, I didn't even put that to get like think about it from that standpoint. Like
Mhm.
COVID did lots of things to lots of different industries. They're probably not exempt from that, like in terms of coaching, reps, all that kind of stuff. So that could also be a part of some of that of what's happening. But real quick,
Yeah.
Matt Swanson is a Illinois product. He is up
Mm.
there at Lake Zurich, which is northwest of Chicago.
Mm.
And get this, his very first varsity baseball start in high school is a perfect game. Can you imagine
Wow.
that feeling? Wow.
Wow. Can you
So
imagine facing him in high school? He's probably throwing straight gas.
right. I just
Wow.
can't imagine your first
Yeah.
varsity being a perfect game. So in high school, he ends up with a second perfect game as well as 2 no hitters. So I would find it interesting
Yeah, that's impressive.
to talk to players how like it is a classic case of like big fish, little pond. Because I
Mm.
mean, think about
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like you threw a perfect game. You're a local legend, and then you keep coming up just to grow and mature and realize there's guys that can rake at the plate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know
Yeah.
that like how that must feel as someone, what that's like, what that transition
Mm-hmm.
is like. Because he goes off to he followed his parents went to Leahy University in
Yep.
Pennsylvania, and so he just kind of followed where they went, liked the program. So his first 3 seasons of college, he pitches a 4.7. So I can't imagine like that transition of like even at a university level. Like I go from like perfect games and no hitters in
Mm-hmm.
high
To get
school
beat up.
to 4.7. He ends up pitching a 2.3 and his 2.3 ERA in his final season, and it gets scooped up by like what we've already said.
Yeah.
So that was just interesting to me that I can't imagine pitching a perfect game as my first
Mm-hmm.
varsity level start.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. The ping pong of their careers and where they get to and where they started. I'm with you, Matt, on Swanson. I think I'd take a shot on him as a starter. I think it makes sense. He's got the stuff. Let's get to the next guy, Kyle Leahy. He has been an interesting guy for several years for us now. Um, a little bit more advanced in his pitch command. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit more about just what he's throwing out there and how he's been?
Okay, so 78 innings, 72 strikeouts, 2.86 ERA. So he didn't quite have the strikeout punch as Svanson. Just as far as his season this year, he had a shaky June, was not very good, but everything else has been really good out of the bullpen. He's another guy, Jonathan, to your point, that's doing these multi-inning stints, even more than Svanson is. He's got
Oh
like
yeah.
the 2 inning, 3 innings. He's done that quite a bit. Really great extension on his pitches. He's not a huge strikeout guy, not a huge soft contact guy. So the underlying peripherals are not as dominant as Swanson's. However, he throws 6 pitches:
Hmm.
four seam, slider, curve, sweeper, changeup, sinker. That is a crazy arsenal to come out of the bullpen. In fact, that's a starter's arsenal. To have 6 pitches is crazy. I will note this. So he's thrown his curveball a lot more this year, and it's been super effective. So I do think, as far as like your smart franchises go, they've seen something with the curveball, and they're like, "Hey, throw it more," and he's gotten good success with it. So
Yeah.
his location plus is 100, his stuff plus is 102. However, his fastball, sinker, slider, and curveball are all over 100 on stuff plus. So he's got 4+ pitches. Again, this is not like a massive strikeout guy, but if you've got that much of a repertoire, you can probably get the guy out the second time and the third time through the order. He's 28, he's a little bit older. And again, we've got all the stigma of you've been in the bullpen. It's almost like once you get in the bullpen stink is on you and you can't get it
Yeah.
off. But I don't know. Again, these are two very interesting pitchers in the way that they approach things. And like you said, Jonathan, with the just Grand Canyon full of open
Yeah.
rotation spots, I'm just wondering if we shouldn't take a chance on him too.
I, Andy, before we get to your thoughts, I just feel like with Leahy, this is an easier position to backfill in the bullpen.
Mm.
It is, right? Like if we transition him to be a starter, which I think that is a shoe in. I don't know why on earth they would not give it a try. Because let's say it doesn't work out for him, he stretches out. You already know he's successful in the bullpen. Just keep him out there. He can be a high leverage guy, a long guy. He's very, he's been really like he's played the multi-inning thing really well. That's not an easy thing to do,
No,
right?
he's
Uh,
also a starter in the minors too. So he's
yeah,
got this in his track record also.
he kind of like knee-jerk reaction when I look at it. His track kind of reminds me of Libertor's a little bit.
Okay.
Libertor is the higher touted prospect. Like
Sure.
there's no question. Libertor was a first round pick. We got him from the Rays. It's kind of like, Libby lived in the bullpen for 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
Leahy has lived out there for a few
Yeah.
years. And there's one more statistic that I wanted to share with you guys that I haven't talked about on this podcast something that I use to evaluate pitching. It's on Fangraphs. It's called Sierra.
I thought,
Uh,
no, is this because,
Yeah, well, I like it a
Yeah.
little bit.
yeah.
Skill interactive ERA is what it is. So this is, again, you can get way down into the weeds, is what's the difference between ERA and FIP and all this other stuff. This basically is just taking how he executes his pitches, just him. It's just him. It's not fielding. It's not anything else. It's more of a predictive statistic to use. And if you look at his past couple years, in 2023, his Sierra was 9, almost 10. Well, that was his cup of coffee year. It wasn't very good. It is what it is. 2024 is 4.12. Okay. That's a whole lot better. 2025 is 3.73. Now, that's not as good as the ERA you just mentioned. But what Sierra is trying to tease out here is if he pitches, if he was a starter,
What's his true talent?
what's his true talent
Yeah.
here? Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Is a 3.73. I will take that 7 days out of the week from Kyle Leahy.
Well, we don't have anybody in rotation that has that.
No,
That would be the lead.
exactly? Am I predicting he's going to do that?
Sure.
No, not necessarily. But that stat is really interesting to see the predictive nature of pitching statistics, and it's like, okay, well, Sierra really does like him as a pitcher, and I think that's just that's an interesting little tidbit to throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
Andy,
Well-
what about your thoughts on old Kyle?
Kyle is our academic. Okay. So hold on to
Ah.
that thought. He won a few awards for that. But he grew up, I just like the name of this town, just because it's unique. Gun Barrel, Colorado, is where he's from, which is just outside Boulder, which is
Wow.
just right outside Denver.
Known
Okay.
for its peaceful demonstrations.
Absolutely. So his dad, his name is Tim, and he actually played college basketball at Kansas State University, so KSU.
He is
So-
tall.
Yeah, we got some, athletes in the family there, and it makes sense that a person who was born in Gun Barrel, Colorado, he says that his favorite things to do are skiing and being outdoors. And if the outdoors look like what he grew up around, I can understand
Yeah.
wanting to ski and wanting to be
Hmm.
outdoors. Let's fast forward here. He won the Summit Award, which sounds very Colorado-esque. Colorado Mesa, right? Is where he
Yeah.
went to school. That sounds like something that you would win out there, a Summit Award. He was a student athlete with the highest GPA of anyone who competed at the RMAC, which was that division's championship tournament. So, of all the winners, he had a 4.0 GPA. So,
Wow.
shout out to you, Mr. Leahy, for having a 4.0 while being a student athlete. I know that can't be necessarily the easiest thing to do. So that was just a few things.
Hmm.
Swanson was a perfect game in high school, and Leahy's our brainiac of the group. So
Wow. We love education around here.
we
So
We do.
do.
nice
So
job, Tim, and your wife. Did a good
yeah,
job there for hello, Kyle. I
yeah.
I think this is an easier decision than Swanson. If we come back to if you're Heim, if you're Pierpont, if you're Dusty, do you put him in the rotation next year? I think this one's yes. Like if Swanson was a yes, Leahy is even more of a yes. Matt or
Hmm.
Andy, you guys disagree on this?
No, I don't disagree. I just find it's interesting that you're saying this because, like, to me, Swanson's the better pitcher. He's the more talented pitcher. So are you saying that simply because we've seen Leahy do more of these extended? Okay. So
And the
he's gotten
pitches.
closer to it.
And the
Oh, and that's six
pitches.
pitches. Sure.
The
Sure.
6 pitches is like in the bullpen. That's like, whoa, that's really, really rare. Now you can have 6 pitches and they're terrible, right?
Right.
It's not that does not
Yeah,
necessarily.
but four of them being,
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And really, you could, 4 could be 5. It's not
Yeah.
like it's that much harder to maybe add some stuff on these other pitches. That is what's really interesting to me, is that he can come out and if something's not working, you have other things to lean on.
Hmm.
That's where when Palante, I know we're bringing him up a lot here. When he's bad, his fastball is terrible. He's done. That whole outing is gone. If Leahy's whatever sweeper isn't working, well, he'll go to the curveball. There's a lot of different machinations you could go through as a starting pitcher with 6 pitches. That is like the 100%. He can command them well. That's what I think. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Six pitches is like on MLB The Show. You don't even have enough buttons on your controller to throw all your pitches. You know?
Well, like
Are
to the point, Matt, you said that Swanson needs to maybe pick up a changeup, right? Something.
Yeah.
Leahy has the pitches. Like there is no like that would be my only thing that I see just based on what you just laid out, both of you laid out.
Yeah.
Swanson needs to pick something up. Leahy has the tools. Can't. That's what I see right there.
I also think it's super low risk. I know I said that at the beginning, but he might be nails in the back end. Leahy could just slot right back in. I think we ought to try him spring training, run him out there. Let's see what he can do. And if it doesn't work out well, then that's okay. No risk, no harm, no foul.
Yeah,
That's kind of my
we got some
approach.
guys coming up in the minors that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the nail in the coffin to this, to me, would
Hmm.
be what Heim Bloom says about the franchise after the season, because some of this is going to be our expectations about next year.
That's true.
Because this is scary stuff. If you're like, hey, Swanson and Leahy are starters, and just when you're penciling that in on paper, that's scary. They've never done this before.
Yep.
It might collapse. It might be terrible. You don't have anybody to back them up. So it's that part of it is kind of rickety to me. But if Heim comes out, and I've seen this all over online, I've heard it on other podcasts, that everybody expects him to be very forthcoming and tell it straight to the fans. If he's going to do that and he's going to say, we're not in a good spot right now, I'm sure he'll probably say it better than that. But
Yeah.
that would make me think, okay, well then let's try some things, because
Yeah.
yes, it could go bad, 100%, no doubt about it, but could also be good. We see this with the smart franchises. They take players, they lean on the good skills, and they turn those good skills into production. And it's time for the Cardinals to do that. If we're doing all this and hiring all these people and changing our franchise over, then it's time to be that franchise.
I agree. Any last thoughts on Swanson or Leahy before we move on?
let's get him in there. Can't be any worse, right? I mean, it could,
Well,
but I mean,
I don't want to watch Palante next year. I'm sorry. I just don't want
get him
to.
in there.
you heard it first here, fellas. Get him in there. All right. Next week, last homestand, right? Reds and Brewers coming to town.
Yeah.
Andy, let's start with you. Anything you're looking for over the last two home series of the year?
Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. That's the last
Yeah.
time. That's the last time I want to look at them, possibly. I'm serious, boys. I'm tired of talking about those two. I need Heim to come tell me
uh,
straight about how he feels about those. Just lay it out there. I need all the spark notes of what Heim you seeing in those two because I'm done.
he's had enough. He's tapping out.
Yep.
I get it. I get it. You wouldn't hear an argument from me. I understand the pain. Matt, those two series, what are you looking for?
Two things. I would like to keep the Reds out of the playoffs, just as a NL Central team. I don't want more NL Central teams in there. Nothing specific about the Reds. Sorry, you're in the same division, so I sports hate you. See you later. Two, what's the attendance going to be like? It's going to be hot as can be, and that's going to keep some people away. But this is it. This is the last week of the year. Is it going? I guess what I'm asking, like, is it going to really crater because we're really
Hmm.
not in the playoff mix now? And so, are we going to go under 10,000 fans, or are we going to get some kind of bump? Because Jonathan, you've mentioned this in previous episodes. This is it. We like
Yeah.
this. We love this team. Let's go out one more time and catch a game this year.
Yeah, those are both really good. I just wanted to highlight one thing here is that Ivan is back to smashing.
He is.
We have been saying this in our little chat on the side, but if you look at since September 1st, he's looking like Pedro Pages from August, which
Don't just
normally
don't
isn't.
take it back. Take it back. Take it back.
He's smashing, and I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm glad. I feel like he's back in the saddle here, and he's like a joy to see coming up next. You know, like oh he's let's watch him in next inning. So I'm watching Ivan
Yeah.
here in the next week. All right, before we go, I thought it would be fun as we are kind of tailing off into nothingness in September here. I know that we still have a chance to make the playoffs,
Mhm.
but we thought it would be fun to reminisce a good moment in September in the Cardinals franchise, something that we can recollect and think, wow, those were the good old days, folks. Matt, I think you have one, so I'll
I
kick it
do.
over to you if you want to lead us through this.
It is unfortunately at this moment in time, and it's difficult to feel good or be positive about this franchise because it's just it's not always been the case, and we love this franchise, and there is nothing in the world I love more than watching the Cardinals in the playoffs. It's incredible. I lose like 2 years off the end of my life every game, and I love it. So if 2011, what a match. Cardinals fans. August 24th, we're 10 and a half games back of the Braves for the lone wild card spot. We've got a 4.3 percent chance of making the playoffs. And so we go 18 and 8 in September. And then the nail in the coffin is the Braves lost to the Phillies in the bottom of the 12th on their last regular season game to squeeze us into the playoffs, which is hilarious then because, of course, that's the year we played the Phillies in the first round, and Carpenter went head to head with Roy Halladay, and we beat them. And
Ah,
so it's just such a beautiful thing to remember all the awesome times that we have had as a franchise. And I could have started naming players from that 2011 team, and it would just been like, oh, yes, it's not always been like this, like the
yeah.
freezes and
Uh-huh.
pool holes and Chris Carpenter. Do you guys remember these are playoff moments, but do you remember he would start and they would just have to mute because they'd have like a mic in the mound. They'd have
Oh
to
yeah.
mute everything that Carpenter said. Every time he threw a ball, it was an MFer and they just couldn't air that. And
He
so
was
that's
psycho.
not the way I
Yeah.
choose to speak with my life, but like there's something about that I love. I miss that. I miss these moments.
Yeah, so that series against the Phillies, that was a beautiful way to walk us through that. Is that when Carp dove head first to first
Yes.
base? And I was
Yes.
like, well, it's
Yep.
over. He's
Yep.
hurt.
During the course of that slide, the earth stopped spinning on its axis. I didn't breathe. My heart stopped. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, oh no, our
Yeah.
Cy Young winner. No. Yeah.
Yep. And that is the time too, Andy. I was going to say this that teams now they're like, well, if you can get in the playoffs, you might win. They're
Yeah.
referencing like this team
Yeah.
right
Yep.
here. Like you
Well,
get hot at the right time. It's the 2011 Cardinals is what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure I recall this very same series. So, the church that I go to, we have like this camp out, like church camp out around about this time, and it's not in a good cell service. I mean, 2011 streaming isn't like super popular quite yet. So I just remember being around campfires, literally listening to the car, just like and hearing the cheers go across the
Mm-hmm.
campgrounds. of just, Cardinals baseball in the postseason, of the casual fans sitting around the campfires, and there's just, you could hear people associated with our church and not, just cheers all around
Yeah.
these games. That's a fond memory of mine as well.
I mean, this is 14 years ago, but it just feels like a lifetime ago of you would get to a point where there'd be a big moment and you would just assume the Cardinals would come through. And I just can't forget all those conversations I have with other
Oh,
Cardinals
yeah.
fans. Like, man, other teams must hate us because we always win. We always squeeze it out. We always come through. And it just feels like what, it's just like a different franchise now.
Well, and this is I agree with that 100%. And I was talking to my wife as we were up, and as we were leaving Milwaukee, I was like, man, I really hope we can get back to winning like consistently, because watching your team in the playoffs is a feeling unlike really anything else. Because like you said, Matt, it's like you're shaving years off your life because
Every
you're
pitch.
sweating bullets, you're stressed. I was like, you think it's stressful in the late innings now. Wait until it's like, getting to the National League Championship Series is on the line and Riley O'Brien can't throw a strike. And you're like, oh my God. And they
Yes.
got to face a minimum of 3 batters now. It's like, we will get back there we will get back there, right? I hope sooner rather than later. But those are the things that I will always hold dear, to be like, man, that was a good moment. That was a great
Incredible.
time. It was a great time. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Redbird Rundown, your go-to source for St. Louis Cardinals news. Please subscribe, rate, and review the show to help us grow. Follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook for the latest news. Keep your rally caps on, and let's go Cards.
Get him in there!